So, hello again, everybody. Um, Welcome again to our Innovation Day. I hope my audio is pretty well and you can hear me clearly. So, again, my name is Mikail Özkaya and I will guide you through this event. And today we have an interesting agenda. Let's have a look at it. Well, yeah, in the first, I will say a few words about this Innovation Days, some background and some information. Then I will tell you something about the features we had in the 1808, 1810, 1812. And then we are looking forward to the great presentation of Etienne Fenter. He is at Santam Insurance and will present you how they work with Symbio, and there we all are looking forward, I guess. So it will be great at 1:30 p.m. So then afterwards we have a little break around 10 minutes, and at the end Oliver will give you an overview what will happen in 2019 and give you some overview about our events and the features we will have in 2019. So the previous Innovation Day has been in July, and since then a lot of things happened. A lot of new features has established in Symbio, and yeah, we really appreciate that you take your time and look here for this event. So yeah, some informations about that. We will record all these presentations, and afterwards you will get information after we uploaded that on YouTube. On YouTube, you can also watch all the previous events. Well, then I would say let's start with the first topic. It's the Symbio features. It will be my part. So what will I show you today? Well, as I mentioned in 1808, 1810, and 1812, a lot of things, a lot of features has been established. And I will start with something most of you has already used and already know. It's the extended permission. There I will show you two use cases, how you can use the permission sets in Symbio. Then the language dependent content, I will also give you there a use case how you can use multiple languages in Symbio and how Symbio is working with this. In 1810, we had the template-based digital documents, which is a huge feature in Symbio. There I will give you an overview, an example how the web-based documents could look like in Symbio and how you can work with it. Afterwards, I give you also two use cases about the validity of processes, and also I will show you the instant printing, which is quite nice. Then we have in 1812, which is not communicated now, but will be communicated in the next week. You will get the release notes definitely by next week. So here we have the personalized view, the object lists, and the grouping. And here I will give you an overview how the features are, and also the benefits of them. So I would say let's jump into Symbio. So we can start with all these features. Therefore, I go to Symbio at first. So as you can see, I've already prepared a database for this Innovation Day, and also here the topics I will present. Let's start with the permissions. Previously, before 1808, we only could permit the architecture in Symbio, which means you could say if someone is allowed to see a main process, a sub-process, or if an editor can edit this. In 18.8, we extended the permissions, and we can do far more, which means you can define who can approve in Symbio, who can delete in Symbio, who can set up in Symbio. And these permission sets show what kind of functions I have. And for this to have a better overview, I will show you the first use case, which is which most of you already know. If you have an external auditor in your company, and he has to audit your processes, the most of you maybe printed the processes and handed out manually. So and now you can do it all in Symbio. Therefore, I will first show you the permission sets. Let's go into the admin area. 1 second. So when we go to the admin area, we have a new facet which is called the permission sets. And here you can actually define which kind of permissions the set is allowed. So for example, we have the permission set no access, we have the permission set open element, and for example also edit but no approval. So what we have done for the auditor is we have granted him the no access permission set, but he's also in a user group, in a permission group with this permission set, the open element. Which means actually the auditor has no access in the whole system. However, in the particular or relevant processes he is permitted to, he will see and open the processes. I give you an example for this. Let's go back to the processes. And we want now to permit this process for the external auditor. So how does it work? We click on the toolbar on change permission, and then a dialog is opening. And as you have seen, I've already prepared this. I have permitted this one with the external auditor group. And another important thing is we have two kind of permission modes. One is that you exclude other users. This example we will see in the next use case, and you can also permit it and all other users are unchanged. This is important now for us because we don't want any other user that this affects him. So after we have selected this, we can then approve this. And now the next thing, as the auditor is maybe not at your office and in his office, so you want him to send this link, you can create a permalink for this process, and let's do it like we have sent it to him. Therefore, I will take another Explorer to show you this. I go to the Internet Explorer, enter the link, and now I can sign in as the external auditor. So after we have logged in, as you can see, I get directly into this process. However, I can't see anything in the navigation tree. I can also see the informations if they are released. And as you can see here, this interface process is not permitted. However, as the auditor, I can still see this. So in all other things, I don't have any access. If I want to see the process house or any other informations, I won't see anything. As you can see, if I click on process, I will only see the things I am permitted to. And also I can't see any objects which are in Symbio. This is the first use case. Let's get to the second one. This is if we have, for example, a document which is different in two kind of locations. We have, for example, the payment terms in Germany and the payment terms in Spain. So as you can see here, we have related them with this process step. However, we want that only the Spanish people see their document and the German people see only their document. And how does it work? In this case, we go to the documents and want to permit these specific documents. For the German one, I have already prepared it. When we go to the change permission button, you will see only German user group and others are excluded. And if we go then to the Spanish, we want this to permit for the Spanish group. This works exactly the same. We go on to change permission. In this case, we are looking for the Spanish user group. And we want to exclude the other users. So far, so clear. So now if we log in as someone from Spain or Germany, you will see that these people will not see the other document. Let's just have a look. I'm already logged in as Elena España. She's from Spain and she's in the Spanish user group. And if we go to the documents, we will see that she only will have the Spanish one seen. Right here. And also this affects, of course, the process. If we jump back to the process, let's get back to the process, then you will see that the other document is also not shown for me. Like here, example, as you have in mind, the admin user could see both. Now I can only see as the Spanish one my document. So as you can see, for the permissions, you also can permit objects. You can permit also for set permissions for users, and of course you can do the previous things that you permit the hierarchy, the architecture for example, the HR group see only the HR processes, the supply chain management see also his processes. So that was so far for the permissions. Let's get to the next feature, which is the language depending content. So how is this working? As you can see, as Elena, I'm in the English version of Symbio, and I can see everything in English. When I switch to the Spanish version, the Spanish language, there you will see that all these informations are still in English. Why is this so? Because the author of this process has not translated this processes in Spanish. So before this get blanked or there's something written like task like before, Symbio automatically takes the language which we set it as a default language. In this case, we set it English as a default language, and we can see all the informations in English. And if something is translated in Spanish, like this sub-process, it will be shown. Why is this important? It could be that a customer wants, for example, to establish a new language after he already set it up the processes, and before this content are blank, Symbio takes the languages of the default language. So nothing is blanked out, and the mouse already can understand the English language and get the information from English. as you can see right now. So then this was the 1808 features. Now I want to show you the digital documents. Therefore, we go back to the administrator and how could something like this look like? So therefore, let's have a look at this document. I've prepared um, a digital document with some corporate identity of us. As you may know, we use for our handbooks and manuals this picture. You can take this as a cover page and also relate the state of this document with the description of the document. And if you want to add the content of the document, you can also add some information like the first chapter. You could type anything you want, so you can set up a document for this. And also you can take this impressum and also the footer and the header like you also already do in Microsoft Word. So to use this, you have to prepare a template, and this template it looks like this. As you go to the admin area, and then you have the facet view document template. And then you can here set up different kind of templates for norms, for processes, for risk, etc. And after you have set this up, you can go to the template editor and define the template as you have seen before. You can upload a picture and image. You can structure this like I did. And important to know, we have a different kind of content. We have the HTML content, so you can type in texts. For example, here we want another text content, or you can also add properties. Properties, these are related information for the document, like for example here the state or the description, but you can also choose, for example, in which processes this document is needed, and these will always be updated if something happens. So as you can see, it's really intuitive to set up a new template. If you want another chapter, for example, you can click on the plus, add another chapter or another section. In this case, we want another section and another property, for example. And here, after the basic information, we want to see where it is needed. And then you can release this template and use it in the documents like I showed it before. So then go back to the processes so I can show you the validity. In Symbio, you can choose and control when you want to release and set valid the processes and object. For example, the validity in future, this process I have already released, and it will be valid in March the 1st. And what kind of effect this has, we will see when we log in later on as a viewer. And another use case I want to show you, and the information we get is if we have an already released process, like now, here we have the first version, and we have optimized this process and set it up a new version of this. And now we want this process to be released. As usual, we go to the release cycle and release workflow, type in all the relevant informations, and then important, you can set up here when you want this process to be released. So in this case, we have optimized this process, and we want this to be released by 1st March because maybe the regulation or a document is also released at this date, and it should be expired, for example, next year. So after we have done this, we can release this process. And then let's have a look how this will affect the viewer. Therefore, I go back to Elena. I will switch to the English language again. And go to the viewer mode. So we will see, what kind of informations we get. So for the first, validity in future, if we click on this, we will get information above the process that this process is actually released. However, it's not valid. So the viewer knows, okay, I can view this process, I can get the information, but it's not relevant for me until it's valid. The same if we go to the next use case. In this case, we have already a valid and released process, as we can see here, but we get an information that another version will be released soon. So the viewer knows, okay, this is for me relevant, but I can also see what is optimized and get the information from the new released version. And if the date is due, in this case it was the 1st March, it will be automatically set to valid. So the controlling is really easily and is automated by Symbio. And if you want to print this graphic, you don't need to generate the manual anymore or the graphics. You can instantly print this, so it works really easy. You can hand it out and work with it manually. So if you click on it, it's automatically connected with your printer, and you can edit it and print it like you want. It's really easy. You can also do this for the document graphics or the organization as the organigram, or also in any other graphical view we have in Symbio. So it's working in the whole database. Then let's go to the newest features. In this case, we have the 1812 features. Therefore, I go back to the admin. What we have done, we have in Symbio now you can you can take your roles as favorites, and based on this favorites, Symbio generates a kind of report for you. For example, if we go to the information of you, we have a new element here under settings. In this case, the selected roles. For example, if I'm in the logistics, in the supply chain, I am the dispatcher, I am the employee distribution, and also I'm the storekeeper. And when we go to the reports now, we have a whole new view generated. It's called role entries, and here you will see any information to your selected roles. In this case, it was a storekeeper and dispatcher, etc. And not only the processes, also the tasks where these roles are connected. It's based on the RACI. So if you are responsible, accounted, consulting, or informed, if you are one of this, if this role is one of this, it will be in this list. So you can also see the documents, which is important for you, the KPIs and risks. Besides of this, you can also generate a new widget for this feature. So in the home side, you can take these widgets and see all these processes, documents for your roles. And if you change this or update this, also this view will be updated. So all employees who are working in Symbio can select their favorite roles, and based on these roles, Symbio is generating their favorite, the relevant informations for them. So, and the last thing, the next thing is that we have also the paging now, which means if we go to a list, like an object list for roles, for example, we don't have anymore the long list in Symbio where you have to scroll, where you have to scroll that much. Now we have this paging, where you can see you can select the pages, and here under admin, you can set how many items you want to see on the site. This will be common for you from other other tools who also has this, that you can select the next page, and also it's way easier to filter, and the performance is way better. For example, if you want to see more than 25, you can just select this. Last but not least is the grouping. In Symbio, as you already know, we have the opportunity to connect objects to processes, and to have a better overview now, we implemented the grouping. How does it look like? If we go to the detailed content now, as you can see, we have all the related objects, and in this case, there's an information that here are 17 inputs connected, which means for a specific number of objects, Symbio will collect them, group them to one, and display them in the detailed view for one. Also, it's the same for risk. If you have more than 8 or 9, it will be grouped to one. The next thing is that we, for the grouping, that in the detail content, as you can see, we have another listing, which is based on the stereotypes. So depending on what stereotypes your risk, for example, has, in the detailed view, it will be gathered to one, and if you click on it, you will see which object is behind the stereotype. And if you don't have any stereotypes, it will be connected to the unassigned group. So it is a way better and more convenient view to see which objects are related with this process task, for example. So by saying this, thank you for your attention. This has been the the information and the feature presentation of 18.8, 18.10, and 18.12.